Hello and welcome back. So today we're going to learn how to use the splash screen and how we can also use custom fonts and the use effect hook from React Native. So for us to use splash screen and custom fonts, we must first install the dependencies. So here on the Expo documentation, you can find the dependency here for Expo fonts and install it. I've already installed it, so I won't be installing it in the course of this class, but once you copy this dependency here and install it in your terminal in your project folder, you should be able to have the same result with me. Also, want to install the splash screen dependency too from Expo. Okay, and then since we're going to be working with fonts, we can go to this website here and find the font of our choice. So I'm going to go with this one here, this fade one. I'll just download it here. So when I download it, all I have to do is extract it. So I'll simply extract here. Then after extracting it, I move it into my project folder where I want to use it. So I'll just copy this file here, and then into my project folder, I'll go to fonts and I'll paste it. So note that this one we just posted is called fade one. Okay. So the next thing we have to do, we have to import a few things. So I'll be doing this setup on my root layout because I want the fonts to be loaded before the main app shows, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that the fonts are already loaded before the app mounts. So for splash screen, we have to configure it at the top here because we need the splash screen to actually load first before the main this root layout loads. So I'll simply call on splash screen prevent auto hide async. Then also we're going to, like I said earlier, we'll import splash screen from Expo router. We're also going to import use fonts from Expo font. So this is what will allow us to configure our fonts. Then we're going to import use effect from React. Okay, so let's configure our fonts now. The first thing we need to do is we're going to destructure the font. So we'll say constant an array of my font, just a variable name, which is equal to what use font, the use font hook. And this takes an object. Good. So this is where we're going to configure our font inside this object. So the first thing we need to do is we take the icon name, the font name rather here. I'll just copy the font name. I'll paste it here in a string. And then I'm going to map it. I'm going to map the path rather to the font. So we're going to use require. Require means we're fetching that particular information locally. So inside the require, I'll call on strings and I do dot slash. It's supposed to show me the paths available. Dot slash. Yes. Go to asset slash font slash the font name dot the font extension. In this case, the extension is what? Let me expand this a bit. The extension is what? TTF. So I'm going to say .ttf. So as it stands, we have successfully set up this font. So by default, let's see how it looks so that when we apply the change, we also see how it looks. So let me just quickly refresh this application. So I'll just refresh quickly. Oh, it's taking a while. Okay, I know why this is showing, because of the splash screen. So we need to actually finish up first. So here, we are simply going to use the use effect here. So we call on useEffect. useEffect allows us to run a particular code after the component mounts. So when our component mounts, we want to perform a particular action, we use the useEffect to do that. Maybe we want to fetch data, we want something to happen when the component mounts. And this useEffect takes a callback function here. And in this callback function, we are simply going to say if my font, that means if my font is ready to go, let us hide the splash screen. So splash screen dot hide async, and because we're using the useEffect, we have to pass in a dependency array here, so that if the content in the dependency array changes, the useEffect will run this function again. And in this case, the dependency array we're going to put is what? My font. Also, we want to be able to check if our font is loaded, so we can also use another if here. So we say if not my font, that means if my font is not loaded, let us return what? We can return an activity indicator here. I'll simply return an activity indicator. So name, no, size rather, will be 25, and then color will be red. So if our font is not loaded, we are going to see this activity indicator. So we can also add style to the activity indicator so that we can centralize it. So we call on style. Here we call on style, which is equal to two objects. And then we just want justifier content to center, align items to center. Okay, so let's refresh our application. Okay, it's up. So if now you see the font we have here, see the way it's looking, right? Let's apply this new font we set up now by copying it here. Copy the font name. We go to where we want to apply it. So if I go to home, I want to apply it in this text that says accommodation. So I'll just simply go to where I styled it here, and then I patch the text there. See that? So if I go back, the text should change. You see that the text has changed, right? The font style has changed from the way it was to this one we just put. So let's all refresh again. So you see that the font remains the same. Good. So that's how we can use the SplashScreen, useEffect, and the use font hook from Expo on our React Native project. Alright, I'll see you in the next class.